Yo, what's going on, BOTB family? We back, the brothers of BOTB. We back with another Friday night conversation, Friday night lights, Friday night, whatever you want to say. We always change it up every week, but you already know what it is. I'm Carolina Dirt 803. My brother is Jay Walker the third. He not gonna be able to make. He had a scheduled conflict. But tonight we got a dope guest. We got Miss Joy McKinney. The crazy thing about Miss Joy McKinney is I met her some years ago by way through one of my homeboys, and she's always had a dope vibe. She always energetic. She's always the life of the room. And I met her and her son, and I never knew the story, but she's about to express or tell the story that I have yet to learn. I just always see her and talk to her. But Miss Joy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. How y'all doing out there? I'm Joy McKinney Mackall, and I'm just so glad to be invited to the bottle. But look at me.
The bottom of the bottle. It's a tongue
Yeah,
twister
the
now.
bottom
It's the
of the
bottom of the
bottle.
bottle.
Okay. And look, and I
Yes,
don't drink, but
indeed.
I don't drink, but I do have my glass of apple juice. Okay. So I do want to take a sip first to wet my mouth. And I wanted to say just first starting off is that the whole world is just going crazy right now. But I tell you, everybody out there putting their boots on the ground, okay? And I'm like, where their fans at, okay? Say, where your fan at? Where your fan at? I said, because I got my boots on the ground, baby.
I hear you. Hey, I need to have a fan on because I'm about to start drinking. But I tell you what, this is what we about to do. We about to do a little intro and we'll be right back. All right, I just cut the intro a little short, but y'all know how it is. Some people say we got a long intro, but we ain't worried about it. We're gonna have a good time tonight. But once again, we got Miss Joy McCall. How you doing, ma'am?
Hi, how you doing, Carolina?
I'm doing all right. You already got a couple people in. Miss Carol Stearns in here. What up, HD? You in here too? We appreciate y'all tapping in with us tonight. Um,
Okay, beautiful.
Once again, so Joy is a friend of family to me personally. Like I said, I've met her several times. Had a great time meeting her. She's a very lively individual, which I've always liked. Um, you actually some years ago, you and your people. I try not to say too many names out there. And my old lady had went out one night, and I think you had bought my old lady's meal. I think y'all went to the comedy house. I always thought that was so dope for you to do
Yes.
that. First time actually going out with her, like y'all been at certain events, but to go out, I always thought that was so dope for you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some, you have some good people in your life, and I do appreciate every last one of y'all as well. So we all family together, and that's how we do down here in the country. That's how we do. We
That's
look at one another and we love on each other.
yes,
And when we
indeed.
all have a good time, everybody, we want to make sure everybody have a good time too. But that's just how we do. That's just how we do.
All right, so check this out. We got this thing called first call. We about to do. It's just five random questions. You're not gonna get nothing of it. It's just something to break the ice. Just see how you feel.
Oh.
So my first question: what is your favorite go-go song?
Oh my gosh. Wind me up, Chuck. Okay.
Wind me up,
That is
Chuck. I
my
ain't never heard that.
Oh, you ain't never have you ever heard of Chuck Brown? I know because look, see, I'm from DC.
I
And
know.
yeah, DC is the city of go-go. That it was born and raised up in DC. So we go all the way back to the Pump Blenders, Red Essence, the Junkyard Band, um, all those go-go bands, but my favorite go-go song for all times was Wind Me Up Chuck. Wind Me Up Chuck. Wait, say check the clock and wind me up Chuck. You ain't heard of that, Carolina?
No, man, I'm down south, man. We don't get too much of that authentic go-go music down here.
I figured that, listen, I'm 60 years old now, and I'm going to tell you something. Go-go will always be a part of my life. And anybody that's on this live or on this stream right now that's from DC and is born in the 50s and 60s, and really the 60s and the 70s, those are all go-go babies, okay? So I don't care how old they get. They could probably be in the nursing home and hear Wind Me Up Chuck, and they'd be like this.
Okay.
Yes.
What's your favorite when you go to DC? What's your favorite restaurant to go to, or meal?
Well, I tell you, I don't have a particular meal when I go to DC, but what I do go to DC, it's attached to Maryland, so when I go there, I'm always looking to get a Maryland crab. So I'm either hanging down at the wharf, at the seafood wharf, or I'm going to Captain White's to get some deals on the crabs and stuff. I love seafood because we don't get blue shell crabs down in South Carolina very often.
And my dad loved them. We got to go down to Charleston, not Savannah. Well, Beaufort. But my dad, he'll make that trip. He loves some blue crab. My dad loves some blue crab.
Yeah.
What event, item, whatever, was your sign that you are an adult?
What was my event item that was the sign?
Item, action, store, like what happened when you was like, damn, I'm an adult now?
It seemed like when I had my first child, really, and this is who I'm talking about today, Mike. Okay, it's like when I had my first child, it was like, damn, I'm an adult. And just what this means, like when you turn 18, it's like this is when you become an adult, Yeah, no, I think it's when I had my first child.
Okay. What was your first job?
Oh, my first job was working at the movie theaters down there in off of on Central Avenue in Maryland. I worked at the movie theater. It was called Hampton Mall, and I worked, all the all-night movies. That's when you had the all-night movies and all that stuff. You had, the marathon movies that run all night. Yeah, I used to work at the movie theater, and we used to sit there and when we was working there, we had a little game thing that we would play. Man, we would go and resell the tickets over and over. We had it with the usher. We'd say, listen, you get one ticket and I get one ticket. We were going to just keep tearing that ticket in half over and over. And reselling that one ticket and then take the other ticket and tear it at like 3 times. And they were like, okay, I got this little teeny stub like this. That's because we done sold the ticket like 3 times. So at the end of the night, we'll be counting our money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was my first job at the Hampton Mall movie theater.
Okay. And my last question. What was the biggest shock for you when you moved down south, being that you from up north?
Well, first of all, like I say, I've always been coming down south, visiting because my mom and my dad retired down here, and they bought up land and stuff like that. So I live on my dad's street called McKinney Drive, and he wanted to make sure that he left a legacy, for his family and children. So that was one good thing that I used to like, coming down and just visit my mom and my dad. But it was normally a visit,
exactly.
That I would come. So at the time when I had to come down here to actually, live down here, what was the shocker was that every time I would come down at the fall season to go visit my mom and my dad, it was just beautiful. All the beautiful leaves and the greenery and all the colors and stuff, and just the fall season. But when I came down here to live, and then them leaves started falling in my yard. It started. I was like, "What is this? This is like dirt and leaves. This is trash. What is going on? There's too many leaves." So it was like the shocker was like it was different when I came to live versus than visiting because I could leave those sticks and leaves. But when I came down to live here permanently, I was stuck with them leaves and sticks. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is. All right,
Yes.
so my bonus question, I usually I throw this one in there for people. What's the hardest word for you to pronounce?
Oh man. Oh man. If my sister was on the line, I don't know if my sister on the line or not. She normally would help me say some stuff, that I have a hard time pronouncing. Okay, my daughter. Now I don't know if this. Look, I say mature, or is it mature? Is it mature or mature? So it's one of those.
Okay. Okay. All right. We ain't never had that response. We ain't never had that response. I say mature. I've
Oh,
heard
you
people
say
say
mature?
mature, but I say mature.
Yeah. Um, but let me see. Differentially, that's a hard word for me
Okay.
to say. Differentially, if I'm saying it right.
Okay.
Differentiate. Differentiate or differentially. I'm doing good. All right. Take it,
Yeah,
Holy Ghost. All right now.
you doing
Go
real
ahead,
good.
Jesus. Go ahead
Yeah.
now.
We gonna have to spike your apple juice.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So that was our first call. Like I said, it's just a random question. Usually my brother, when he on here, he'll do 5 too, so you'll get 10. But we appreciate you tapping in with us for that one. All right,
Yeah.
so check this out. We're gonna do current events before we deep dive into your story. Um, I think everybody is a politician right now. I think everybody is a news outlet right now. So the
Yeah.
way the economy is going, um, what's your take on the economy right now?
Well, Carolina, I tell you, I really have been in tune, but I've been out of tune too. But my take is that God is in control. And I believe that Trump, he has his purpose in this earth, whatever that is. And how I see it is this right here. He's maybe doing some dictating or some making some changes to the world statuses, but he can't do anything to the earth or the fullness thereof because that's in God's hands. So how I see it is that there may be some worlds that do need to come down, because there may be some worlds that we don't need, and we don't know that, But at the same time, he can't do nothing to this earth and he can't do nothing to me, because my trust is in God. So my take is that if we continue to just keep our faith in God and know that we have always been resilient, that we've always overcome so many things, that there's nothing that has forsaken us. There's nothing that has brought us down. And if it did bring us down, it was something to, stand up on for us to rise back up. So that's just life. So my take is that trust God. I can't get into all these stories and all these headlines and all these things like that. I just kind of keep my ear to the ground, like the boots on the ground. Keep my ear to the ground and just see where them fans at.
Roof is messing with me right now, but hey, my mom's response is just like yours. Like she leaves it in God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like we as Americans, we as people, we think we wanted something, which was I didn't vote for Trump. When I say wanted something, like we wanted something better. And then you have people that thought Trump was better. Then when Trump got in office, a lot of people realized, oh, we're in a worse situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running this country like a business and not running it with empathy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
And I
true.
think that's one of and I think that's one of the things me and my brother talked about. Like we feel like even before Trump got on, like people lost the empathy aspect. Like
Most definitely.
people don't care like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like back in the day, it was like you shared what's in your refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
You shared what was in your pocket. You shared your transportation, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
now it's like people don't have empathy for them. And I understand it's a safety precaution too with people, but somebody Lonnie, he said no compassion, and I agree. And I just feel like the way he's running this world, it's not compassion, it's not empathy. You
Mm-hmm.
got you pushing people out of work. The economy's already
Mm-hmm.
bad. You firing people. You're not showing love to the veterans. And I say this, and we have veterans in there. My brother's in here watching this. I know Rufus in here, and there's other people. I feel like if you join the military, any branch, if you did your first time, if you did 4 years, I don't think within in your 4 years you should have paid taxes. Now let's say you got out after 4 years, okay, pay your taxes. But if you did
Right.
10 years, you should pay less taxes for the rest of your life. If you did 20 years, you
That's
shouldn't
true.
pay no taxes for your entirety. If you did anything after 20 years, you should. I just think that we should give the people that fight for this country more love. And what he's doing right now, he's not even showing them any love.
See, it's so much details. It's so much, that's surrounding Trump's administration and all the policies and all the agendas that he have. But at the end of the day, you know, it works out. Because we tend to we know how to just move according to what's happening out here, but I still believe there are things that he may put on the table that may not fully come across. It may be, it may be vetoed, it may be taken out of the queue. But we are definitely being impacted in different ways now. But we always have, it just seemed like Trump seems like he brings it to the forefront, like more eyes are on him than some of the other presidents that have been in place. And
Yes.
some of these things have been going on all along, but now that he's in the office, he tends to bring the public and the world to keep put eyes on him, and he's teaching us some things as well at the same time.
Yeah, he's
And
he's
that's
definitely using
looking at,
social media.
yeah, he's teaching us to really look out for what, to be on your P's and Q's, you know. Yeah. Hmm.
People talked about the black farmers, and black farmers, there's a lot of farmers that are uptight, and the black farmers you hear are quiet because they never got the tax breaks and the help from the government. So it's like all these white farmers are in an uproar, but the black farmers are quiet. It's like they're doing their day to day.
Right.
It's no change to them, and that's part of resilience. Black people, we always talk about we never got this, we never got that, but what we got was resilience. We got you know we know how to handle in tough times, and I believe
Yes.
it's really showing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It really is showing right now, I'm locking in and doing what you have to do. And this too will pass. I mean, I'm like I say, I'm not really a big political, person, but I do keep my eyes on it and my ear on it for prayer purposes mainly. Because we, no matter what, we still have to pray for our leader, and he is in leadership. And we pray that, that he makes some decisions that will benefit, us as a people and us as a nation. We still don't know all the things behind the door, but at the end of the day, my stance as a person and a woman of God is just to keep that nation and keep the leader in prayer.
Okay,
Hmm.
that was a good conversation. So we about to switch up into your story. Um, so you talked about motherhood being your sign of being an adult. What
Hmm.
was the first lesson that you felt like you learned in being a mother? Whether it was the day you realized you was pregnant, whether it was the first trimester, the last trimester, the day of the birth. Like, what was your first sign of I'm really a mother?
Mm. It's when I had to, get out there to go to work and take care of my children, take care of my child, and to make these decisions, that was surrounding that I had to be an adult, meaning that I had to be accountable for my decisions. I couldn't just, not have a job because I had to pay rent. I could not just not be on time because I knew if I wasn't on time on my job, I wasn't going to be able to keep that job. So it was like, being able to uh work to take care of my family. That was my first sign of wow, this is what mom and daddy was doing, and this is what I'm doing right now. I'm having to make decisions on taking jobs, and that I'll be able to take care of my child. Mhm. And
So,
then one that was handicapped at that.
so with Mike, and we got a short video we got to play in a little bit.
Hmm.
Like, as far as technology back then compared to now, with Mike's disability, did you already know that before he came out the womb, or was it afterwards?
No, it was afterwards, and it was really, really, really afterwards because when I was pregnant with Mike, I was full with the full term, and but I was going to the health department at the time because during that time, 40 years ago, I was on Medicaid, and they called welfare. That's what they called the welfare and Medicaid. I was on that, so I was going to the health department for my care. So with Mike, when he was born, um, it was a hard labor and delivery, but I really didn't know it was a hard labor and delivery because that was my first child. I just thought like, wow, this is what they talking about when you have labor and delivery. Like I'm going through a whole lot of stuff. My legs are all stretched all out different ways. All the doctors are in the room, and I'm like, wow, this is a trip. So no, he afterwards when he was born, um, it was a struggle, but I didn't know it was a struggle because it was my first time delivering. When I knew that it was an issue was when I brought him home, and he was not developing the way he should have. Even though he had an impact during labor and delivery, and he had lost a lot of breath because he had actually asphyxiated his own placenta and his own meconium stool, which is the bowel movement in this placenta. That caused brain damage to him. But I still didn't know that it was brain damage because nobody told me it was. They just told me that he had, a traumatic kind of birth, but he asphyxiated some of his placenta, but he would be okay. So they kind of kept me in that type of mindset until after Michael started having seizures. And when he had seizures, they had to take him to Children's Hospital at that time. But even then, nobody said that he had a brain damage or was disabled. It was like when I took him home. When he finally came home to me a month later, is when I was sitting here holding him in my arms, and I started to realize, he's not looking like all the other babies. So that's what I found out. It was afterwards.
Yeah, my daughter. I mentioned I never really told all the story about my daughter. My daughter had a heart condition, and we kind of knew before birth that there was going to be some complications. She was a preemie, but the fact that we were prepared before the birth gave a little, not comfort but easing of the future. Um,
Yes.
it would still be the before birth, like, what are we gonna do? Like, it's different
Right.
for you. Like you said, you didn't know till after. Us, it was like me and my wife. It was just like, what are we getting into? Or, you know,
Yeah.
um, in my head, when I'm at night drinking by myself, I just left your family house and I'm sitting
Yeah.
here, or I didn't go over there and had me and him partake in our drinks. It's just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know how I'm gonna handle this insurance and all this other stuff. But you know,
Yeah.
we had to go through. We had to go through. So for you, it's like you didn't know. So that's a
Yeah.
whole whole lot harder. And for a mother to say something ain't right, it's different than a stranger being looking at your child and be like, yeah, but it's different for a mother to say something's wrong. So
Right.
how'd you feel when you first realized that you felt like something was wrong?
Well, when I finally realized something was wrong was because my girlfriend had a baby at the same time that I had a baby. And her daughter, she was moving along with the milestones. And so, I'm thinking like, well, maybe Michael had a little hiccup, he'll be all right because he was a handsome little baby boy. But I was talking to my mom, and Michael, he couldn't cry right. He had this little sound, like, and he wasn't credit his vocals, because they had them tubes down his throat so much. His
Yeah.
vocal cords still had to, develop. But one day he was in the crib. And I was sitting there talking to him. I said, "Hey, Mike, woo woo, hey, sweetie pie." And so he started to smile like this, like he had a smile, like it's kind of crooked. And I
Yeah.
said,
My
"Oh,
daughter
he's
got a crooked
smiling."
smile.
Yeah, I said, "He's smiling." So I went downstairs to tell my mom. I said, "Mama," I said, "Michael's smiling." She said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." So I went back upstairs and he was still smiling. So now I'm doing some other stuff and he's still smiling. I said, "Wait a minute, he's still smiling." So finally I said, "Why is he still smiling 10 minutes later?" So I called to the hospital. I called to the doctor. I said, "Listen, my son is still smiling." And so they said, "Your son is still smiling?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How old is he?" I said, "He's like 3 months." And so she said, he's smiling. He said, "His eye." I said, "Yeah." He says, "He's looking at you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But he's still smiling." And so she said, "Well, I want you to bring him to the hospital right now." He said, "What is his name?" I said, "Michael McKinney." And she said, "Well, bring him to the hospital right now." So I went, I thought, oh my gosh. So I got him in the car and I took him to the hospital, got him to the hospital. And at Children's Hospital, they took him out of my hands as soon as I got there, and they rushed him to neurology. And what they was telling me, that smile that he was having was called infantile spasms. He was having seizures on the brain, and we didn't know. And so at that point, that's when I said, "What is going on here?" I went to neurology. Neurology said that he had an injury to his brain. And they asked me, did I drop him? Did he have that? I said, no. And they said, "Well, what happened? It seemed like he's had an injury to his brain." So I said, "Well, he had a tumultuous, he had a real hard labor and delivery." They said, "Well, during that labor and delivery, his brain was injured. He lacked a lot of oxygen to his
Yeah.
brain, which caused him severe brain damage, irrevocable brain damage." And so that was the first time I heard that word, irrevocable, you know? And I was young to hear that big word, irrevocable. I said, "What is that?" And they said, "That's something that will never change. It cannot be reversed. It's irrevocable. What's done is done." That's what irrevocable means. You can't turn back. It's done. I said, "You're saying that my son's brain is damaged irrevocably?" And they said, "Yeah." So at that point, that's what I felt like. Oh no, who did this? So I kind of had a bad reaction with that, you know, as a young girl holding this little baby and that was smiling, that I thought was mother with this love, and the whole time that smile was spasms on the brain from
Yeah.
that hard birth that he had.
Yeah. I know some of the stuff you were talking about because my daughter went through some of that stuff. Um, but as my brother said, God bless.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Uh, like my wife, when we went through our complications with our daughter, the learning experience. What did you learn as far as his condition, the terminology? Like my wife, she was kind of wanted to get into the medical field, but when it came to talking to the doctors, when it comes to the terminology of everything going on, when it comes to the beeps, the alarms, how the doctor expresses what's going on, how the nurse expresses, like how fast did you pick up on all that stuff?
You know, it was crazy because I remember being a young girl at Children's Hospital, um, and they had a medical library down in the middle part of the hospital, and they was giving me all these big words like I said, irrevocable and brain damage and brain cells and all that stuff. I used to go to the library and look that stuff up in the medical library to try to learn what was happening to my son, because I thought that he was going to die, because it was like he had brain damage. It was like, is he going to die? And the doctor told me, he said, well, no, he's not going to die. But the cortex part of his brain that was damaged, that it holds all the senses of, cognitive, and the cognitive function of your brain kind of tells you what to do. So he said it's just like having he said a bunch of seeds inside this cortex. He said, and when you get like a lot, not a lot in oxygen, when it's not oxygen there to give them cells life, it starts to the cells start to disintegrate, like pop 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 pop, and the brain is made up of a lot of cells. So he had a lot of cells that disintegrated during that time, during labor and delivery, when he lost oxygen to his brain. That's why it's very important when a person is drowning. They say that first 15 minutes, you can kind of save them, because they can afford to have some cells disintegrate, but not a lot, because if you do, you become brain dead. You see? So, so with Mike, he had a lot of cells that was, just popped, just burnt up because of the lack of oxygen. So I had to learn all that stuff by way of library. We didn't have technology that we have like right now. You can Google, YouTube, and all that stuff. I had to get in the books and start reading. So that's why when I say some of the things that I do say about medical terminology and things regarding my son, I have well educated myself to speak on some of the things that I know about, because I had not only had to educate myself, but I actually had to go through real life experience with it.
So how was you have your family around you, um, you got your friends around you, but at the time when you were looking for comfort and understanding, was there a group of strangers, whether mothers just like you going through the same thing, whether they're in the hospital or not? Were there other people to help you get through this, through the initial fact
Yeah.
finding of your son?
Yeah, it was. My family was a really great support, but they were just they was just as impacted as I was, because they was, it was a traumatic experience for them too, and to be able to have a nephew that was, you know, um, born this way. So they were learning just like me, but it was groups of people out there, like the infants and toddlers programs, like the state programs that they had to offer you for children that that had developmental delays. There were people out there that really truly helped you during that time with your child, from infants to from birth to 3 years old. It was called the infants and toddlers program. I give my hats off to them. They were some great people that came in to help me and to help me learn how to care for my son, how to you know mitigate some of the problems that he had, and and they always kept me in a positive sense. And then they also helped me build linkages out there, because I was a young girl, so they would help me to they would bring linkages to me, like if it was Christmas time, they would pour into me during Christmas time, and they would offer me gift certificates or coupons and things like that. So and then you had the community that had respite care, that they would offer me respite care. So, mom, maybe you want a break. We do offer 20 hours
Yeah.
out of the year. You can have a break if you like. So there were a lot of entities out there that really helped with families and helped me during that time. And you know what, Carolina? I admired that program so much that after I got to a certain status in my life, I went back to infants and toddlers and became a case manager for that um, State Department. I became a full case manager with infants and toddlers program and gave back to families at the same time.
Ooh, well,
Hmm.
bless you. Like, like I want, this show is about you and Mike, but like I said, just hearing you talk, like it touches me because, like I said, when my daughter, as soon as she was born, she was in the NICU, and she was actually born in Charleston. We live in Columbia, and she stayed there from September to December.
Wow. That was like 3-4 months.
Yeah, my wife stayed with her every day. I would go on the weekends, get her away for a couple hours, maybe a night. Um, you know, of course, postpartum and all that kicked in, but Ronald
Oh,
McDonald House, um,
yeah. Yes.
other programs in which you're talking about helped us. It wasn't enough for me to help my wife every day, but it was enough for her to get by until I can get up there. And people like
Yes.
you that have given back, help people like my wife, and my wife has helped other mothers, and
Yeah.
it's it's like it hurts when you see other kids run around playing and yours
Mm-hmm.
isn't, but then in a
Yep.
sense it's like that child didn't ask for that. um,
Yes.
some people look at my daughter now and think she's normal, but they don't know the surgery she went through. They don't see the scar on her chest. They didn't know
Mm.
the premature birth. They don't know the 3 pounds and some ounces born. They don't
Mm.
like they
Mm.
don't they just look at her as a ball of energy, but they don't
Right.
see everything. They don't
That's
see
right.
the hearing aid. They don't see
That's right.
the multiple things. And
Yeah.
you know, for you to do that and then give back, right? That's the power of empathy and compassion that, once
Yeah.
again, do you not our leader is not showing.
That's
So
right.
for you, at your weakest point, what gave you comfort?
At my weakest point, what gave me comfort. First of all, what's your daughter's name?
Nariah.
Noraya.
Nariah.
Noraya.
It's like Mariah with an N. Yeah.
Yep, Noraya. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, you know, it's just amazing because we somehow as families, we find the resilience to take care of our children, and no matter whether they all are special, but we in some cases like Naraya and Michael, people don't see that day in the life with Naraya. You know what I'm saying? They don't see the day in the life with Mike. They just see Naraya. They just see Mike. They don't know what all it took for your wife to take care and make those sacrifices and to show up behind the wheelchair or to show up behind, this surgery. I got to be here to advocate to make sure things are going right. In some cases, I used to feel like, like you say, Naraya or Mike, they always got the attention, but it was like, what about us? You
Yeah.
know, what about us? They got the benefit, but look at the same time, what about us? So it don't show it, with caregivers, we don't get an opportunity to really, express who we are. We just got to show up with that fight. And I realized that I read a book and I forgot the name of the author, but in that book, she said, sometimes people, we have learned to say that God gives special children to special people, right? And so I'm thinking, like, yeah, that is true. So at some point in my life with caring for Mike, you know, and caring for, like, Naraya, you caring for your baby, you feel like, okay, God got me and everything. But, I'm special. But at the end of the day, I felt there was nothing special about me, but it was hard work.
Yeah.
It was
It's
like
hard.
really a lot of sacrifice, a lot of tears, a lot of everything that came about that. So what was my driven source? It was God. It was I didn't know about Jesus at the time. I didn't know about the Redeemer's kinsman redeemer. I just knew about the Heavenly Father. You see what I'm saying? So I would just went past the kinsman redeemer and I was talking to God. You know what I'm saying? But I realized I had to come back down to the kinsman redeemer who was there for me as my friend, to help me through this. And then my mom, she was a very great, encouraging woman of God and just a very encouraging mother that not only encouraged me, but she kept me grounded with truth. You know, she would shake me from time and say, "Hey, listen, turn it loose. That's what you got to do." You know, and but I realized that when we talk about special children given to special people, I realized there was not too much special about me. But what I did realize, Carolina, that God showed Himself special to me. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And He shows
Yes.
Himself special to those that have special circumstances in their life. It ain't no so much special about you, but God shows up special for us. So that's how I
So
saw it.
so you're asked, how did she feel about voicing her concerns as a black woman? How hard uh did you have to advocate for Mike?
It was really hard because I was young at the time, and a lot of times, a young black mother, they wasn't expecting you to be educated enough to understand some of the terminology and to actually want to fight for having a voice for your child. So you had to go through all of these different entities sometimes to make a stance, to say, hey, we didn't accept the word no. See, the world always said no to Mike, but God always said yes. But I had to in turn push that, and I had to be his voice. So my mom used to say, look, when they see you, they see Mike. When they see Mike, they see you. So I had to be his voice. So it was like talking for him and talking for me at the same time. So it was hard because a lot of people wouldn't think that Michael knew, had a voice. They wouldn't think that he would have a voice because they thought that he didn't have understanding in his brain, but he do have understanding, and he knows how to make
Yeah.
choices, and he knows how to approve and disapprove. But you got to know him to know that he's a human
Yeah.
being, just like you and
My,
I.
yeah, my daughter has a crooked smile, and through all
Yeah.
the speech, the food, and all the other therapies, my daughter was on a G tube for a long time from birth. But
Wow.
we do wanna, I do wanna show the video that you sent me, uh,
Yes.
and then we're gonna talk about a day. We're just gonna talk about your everyday, what you went through. But here's the video.
Get like Mike, this all about Mike. Get like Mike, this all about Mike. The world said no, but God said yes. A day in the life of Mike and he blessed. The world said no, but God said yes. A day in the life of Mike and he blessed.
August 1st, 1984.
Wow.
I hit the button twice, but I know that young rapper. Shout out to that young rapper, your family. But
Yes, we
let's
got to
talk.
shout out to
Let,
Promise. My
yeah,
niece Promise and her mother Nima. It was Promise X
yeah,
and Nemo. They some
yeah.
talented young
I ain't
ladies,
gonna.
baby.
Yeah, I ain't gonna talk about Nemo. I got a joke, so I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. But let's just talk about a day. Um, give us a day, maybe when he was young, what you went through, and like you said, Mike is, you said 40, right?
He is 40 years old. I'm a
40.
veteran parent.
Yeah, and Mike looked like he's probably like 22, 23. What I've always thought, like I said, I never asked you a story, so when I see him, it's just, Rue give him a cut, and I did not know he just always looked so young, and
Yeah.
I never knew he was that age. So, give me a breakdown of when he was young. We'll say like 8 or 9 years old your day compared to now, because he's grown. He's the blessing. He's grown.
Yeah.
He was awarded time that a lot of people didn't get.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he was awarded at least 35 more years the time, because they didn't give him but 5 years to live. But you look at Mike now, he's 40 years old. But in those days and times, and those 40 years were days for me, you know. And I don't know how, if we calculate 40 years times whatever, I don't know how many days that is, but it was a lot of long days with that, you know. And I as I was looking at Mike when he turned 40, and I said, you know, I wanted to do a blog on him because, you know, what it looks like to take care of a individual like Mike, you know, what it takes in a day. You know, his day is filled up with so much stuff. And I said sometimes family members, friends, they really don't know the full impact of what it takes for Michael to exist, to be a part of something. You know, it takes his caregivers, you know, and his family he got lovely brothers and sisters. You know, I give a shout out to his little sister Bree. She is just amazing with her little brother, you know, and she tells me that I spoils him. You know, that's why he handicapped. See, Michael, I spoil him, you know. And then he has an amazing little brother named Philip that really just, you know, he is the strong arm for Mike. And I think God totally endowed him with special gifts and dunamis power because, you know, this was the male seed of my womb. And I believe Philip got double for all of my trouble, you know. And you know, and he's just doing great things, as well as my daughter. She's just doing great things. She's so amazing, you know, with the stuff that she does. She's such a help to all of us, you know, in the family, you know, and she keeps me on point with things. You know, she keeps me organized in my mind, and she keeps me organized with Mike as well, you know, keeps me encouraged too. And so with that being said, oh God, it's so much. I kind of lost track. Carolina, put me back on track, dude. Put me back on track, because I started
A
thinking
day,
about a
a
day in
day
the
in the
life of
life of
Mike.
my. Yeah.
Man, it's so much. It's so much. You know, Michael, he's a young man that requires full care. I mean, full 100% care from the top to the bottom. You know, I have a girlfriend named Ivy. Her name is Ivy L. Johnson. I met this young lady when I was 13, 14 years old, and we became friends through acquaintance of a friend. Not that I know that meeting this lady at 13 years old, this young girl at 13 years old, that she would be my best friend in the whole world. And not only my best friend in the whole world, but she's also my right hand and Michael's right hand as a caregiver. She helps me so much with she is just like Michael's second mom. You know, she is everything that I, you know, could ever imagine. God definitely put us together, you know, for such a time as this. You know, Michael requires total dependency upon others to care for him, you know, from the time he wake up until the time he go to bed. He takes medication 3 times a day. You know, he needs to be bathed, cleaned. You need to be, you know, from the top to the bottom, from brushing his teeth down to, you know, changing his diaper because he has incontinence. He has to wear a diaper. You know, you have to keep him clean in that area. And then, you know, he needs assistance with walking, with feeding, you know, from breakfast, you know, lunch, dinner. You know, you have to always prepare those meals for him and all of his favorite meals. You know, a day with Mike consists of, you know, keeping him encouraged, having him stimulated with activities. You know, he likes to go outside. You know, he's nonverbal, so you have to learn how he communicates. You know, he has times when he's not feeling well, you know, and you have to know how it is when he's not feeling well. He has times when he wants to be bad, you know, things like that. So a day in the life with Mike consists of a whole lot of care, and especially when you bring him outside of the home into the community, because the society and communities, you know, they're just accepting. Well, for the last 20 years, they have done a lot with accepting individuals with special needs and making things more accessible for handicapped individuals, you know, that is disabled in society. So when he goes out, I try to keep him as active as possible, you know, with, you know, going out to movies, you know, to concerts, to the park, you know, shopping, fast food restaurants, the works. I want him to have a same experience that he would have had as a natural, normal, you know, young male. Even though he was robbed of some of his his young life, I wanted him to still have the option of being able to feel what it's like to be a whole person. So I continues to keep him active, in society. But it takes a whole lot. It takes a lot of sacrifice, as you know. We have to commit to that care, and it can be exhausting at times, And but at the end of the day, people don't really see that day in the life. They just see Mike. They just see him, and they see he's looking good. He's well kept, got a smile on his face, but they forget sometimes about how he got there and how that caregiver is so very important. That's why I try to continue to take care of my good girlfriend, Ivy L. Johnson, because Michael, he depends on her so very much, and because he had a birth injury at that time, I sued the hospital, which I was able to get a reasonable amount of money to care for him for the rest of his life. So with that, I was able to hire people like Ivy to help with Mike, and Michael has hired many people out here, over the years to care for him. He's his own businessman, Michael, he's pretty good with the things that he do. But yeah, Michael, businessman. Michael a shot caller.
Well, I've seen a couple of your people say Mike can eat. So what is Mike's favorite food?
Yeah, Michael can eat, man. I mean, you got to feed him. Straight up breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks. Okay. He likes the full. He likes everything. His favorite food is French fries and pizza. Okay, that's his favorite thing. He could eat half of a pizza just like you and I. Okay, and his favorite breakfast food is pancakes and sausage. Okay, and his favorite meat is barbecue chicken and barbecue ribs. Now I gotta blame that on my girlfriend Ivy, because she makes the best barbecue chicken in the world, and Michael just loves that. So food is really his motivation. To see Michael operate in things, just give him something to eat. He's going to respond. If you're going to say, Michael, do you want some? He'll go, other than that, he's answering your question by saying, he's a trip, y'all. Michael is something.
And Bree said he don't leave no leftovers fresh off the skillet.
Yes. Michael is a big eater. He eat like a grown man. You hear me? My grocery bills be high. And one thing too, Caroline.
One thing I wanted. Go ahead.
Yeah, thing too, he likes fast food and he loves Uber Eats. He knows when you order an Uber Eats. My girlfriend said when she ordered the Uber Eats, she knows when he's ordering it. She know when he's looking at her ordering it, and he's waiting for that knock on the door, and that bag come in, and he's ready. Yes.
So
yes. Yeah, man. The day of life, right, man.
I wanted to ask you, in the day in the life of Mike, one thing I had to learn from my old lady is the mental health aspect of the caregiver, who is you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to ask this, because I don't know what she went through. I don't know what you went through, but your mental health is what gives Mike a good day, because yes. I'm pretty sure he feeds off your energy. So
how
your mental health, for your mental health over the years, as a caregiver, as a mother, as a friend, as a disciplinary, as a security, a doctor, all that, because a day in the life doesn't happen unless you're mentally healthy, and I think, and that's what people forget. And I had to forget, and I forgot many times with my wife, and she always had to reel me back in, say you need to check on me, and she still get on me for that. But checking on you and your mental health, On a scale from 1 to 10, we'll go through the 40 years. We'll do 10 years at a time. His first 10 years, second 10 years, third 10 years, and now. Give me your mental health over those decades.
Okay, the first 10 years, my mental health was, oh gosh, it was on point, filled with energy, filled with tenacity, like, yeah, I got this, you know. Yeah, something's gonna change. This is good. I got this. The next 20 years, the next 10 years, it was like, okay, there's other things I need to be thinking about here, like what's going to happen with Michael as an adult. I need to find out if he's going to be in the right schools and programs, because now he's not in elementary school. Now he's in, he's supposed to be graduating and getting ready to go into this manhood. The next 10 years is like, now he's in his 30s, and he's inside this society and group homes now. He's not at home. Now he's in group homes and things like that. And I'm having to watch out for, other caregivers that I don't know about, and mental health was like, okay, look, if somebody, do something to Michael, I'm getting ready to pop off, so I'm like, now the mental health is like more intense. Like I gotta get him straight. Now you into his next 10 years, now he's 40. It's like mentally you're exhausted a little bit and you're like, okay, I've done everything. I'm totally wore out. My blood pressure is like completely up high. My gray hairs everywhere, My mental health is like needs help, but I give it to God, and then I have people that I could talk to, counselors and friends and things like that to encourage me. I also try to make sure I try to get vacations and, every 2 months, every 2 months that when Ivy, she comes in to care for Mike, that helps my mental health, Carolina. I'm able to care for myself. I'm able to get those things that I need, like going to the doctors and hair appointments and nails, because at that time, Ivy, she's standing in the gap for me to help me to be able to nurture me, in my mental health. And then I have a loving husband too that helps me so much. Tech Man is an awesome guy. He's
amazing.
Amazing.
Special dude. Yes,
yeah, he is truly amazing. I really believe that he was carved out for me because he wasn't he's not Michael's dad, but he took on Michael as his own. He loved the child that was not his own. He is the real Southern man. You know what I'm saying? He is the real country man. Yeah, and he's always showed that love not only to Michael but to my other children as well. And he's always there to give me good comfort, and wise decisions, wise counsel. He gives me wise counsel all the time. He's the one, if you listen to the song and they call him the Pamper guy, McKinley was the one that named him Pamper guy.
that guy is Tech. The first time I met that guy. Whenever I'm around Rue, I always got to ask about Tech. That guy is special. And speaking on that, real quick, Bree, I have never met Bree, but Phil, that guy, that man, that guy is a special individual. Also, I every time I'm around him, he doesn't carry himself as a young person. He carried himself as a grown man, and I always like being around that guy. I was around that guy about 2 months ago. About 2 months ago when he was in town, I walked up there, and that guy, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Tech. I want to ask you about Tech because what a lot of people don't understand is Tech not being his father, but giving him that love. And then that love for a child that is disabled and that's not his, like that takes a special individual.
Yes.
And he helps in the day of Mike. So for you, how does it make you feel? And what is it that other stepfathers father figures, whether they're the uncles, the cut, like what is it that Tech got that he can present and help other men in that role?
I think one thing is McKinley has a really big heart. You know, his heart is just he's a loving guy, and he was raised right. That's one thing. Um, I think it's acceptance. It's acceptance. I think most men that come into women's lives that already made families, that have children and things like that, to other stepdads, they have to see with their eyes open. The full acceptance of that person, of that woman, and how she's caring for her kids. I know McKinley said to me, he said what kind of made him look at me a little different than some women. He said, because he saw that motherhood in me, just almost like how his mother was, and that he saw that, I was caring for my kids, and that I was a good mother. He said, she's a good mother. She's a good woman. And he could see that. So I think that helped him, help me, because, he wanted to help me, and I had to open myself for that help too. One of the things I had asked my dad was, when he was alive, I said, Daddy, how do you recognize a good man? How do you recognize a good man? Because they all talk that talk. They all got that little walk at the time, But when you get to knowing them, and all of a sudden it's like, what? They crazy, the range what? But at the end of the day, how do you recognize a good man? And my dad told me, he said, Jojo, he said, how you recognize a good man, he said, is that a man will be always willing to help you. He said, not only will he be willing to help you in your everyday life, but he'll be willing to help you in your womanhood, in the things in your life that you care about. He will make changes to help you. And that's what I saw about McKinley, that he was a man that was always willing to help. So these other stepdads and things like that, if you see a man that's willing to help you, with your child, and really not bring you down, but try to lift you up in those areas, that's a good man.
I like that. Also, I want to touch on just a shout out to my partner and your family member, Rue. When I believe I met you and Tech before I met Mike. But he used to always tell me about Mike, because that was around the time he started cutting and started getting good at cutting. And one day I was over there and he was doing something. He was like, I got to get this straight for Mike, because we got to get him in the house, out the house. And he was, I'm not saying he altered his house. I'm not saying he altered his day. But what I'm telling you is, or expressing to you is, one day we were talking and he wanted everything perfect for when Mike showed up.
Yes, indeed.
So
God.
So what the energy and the love that Mike spreads to others will never be valued as much as people value Mike.
You got that right. Hey, listen. Now you can put that in your bottle and drink it. Let's go to the bottom on that one. That's some good apple juice. You said that right.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure, and every time I'm over there and Mike's coming, if I just pop up and he told me, like, he wants to make sure everything is good for when Mike comes, he can have a good fresh cut.
Yes, indeed. Rue is the best, man. He is the best. He is a good guy. I don't know how to explain Rue. Rue is an amazing individual that has like that empathy heart, and that he has that serving heart in him though. And I always figured, I got an episode that I did in a day in the life with Mike, and it's episode number 2, and it features Rue and Rue cuts and him having a haircut, having Michael get his haircut by Rue. That whole episode is about Rue and the haircut. because Michael and Rufus has the best relationship in the world. Where if you want to see a person that connects to a child like Mike or a person that has a disability, Rue has a magnet on him that when Michael sees Rufus, he automatically makes a decision to get up and get in the chair to get his hair cut. He already know that Rufus is there to do his hair. He responds to Rufus on command. If Rufus, tells him to hold his lips straight and everything, he get my lips straight, get his beard hooked up. I mean, Rue has mastered Michael from the top to the bottom. So when you see Michael looking fly, Rufus did it. He puts Michael on the map every time. But that's relationship. That's him valuing Michael as a person. And so when Michael is valued as a person, he shows that back to individuals. He shows that, oh, you see me. So since you see me, this is what I look like, Slim. What's up? So that's how Michael do with Rue. They got like a what's up type of situation. And I find that when you see Michael and not just see his handicap, you gonna see Mike as a cool dude, man. In that song, he's a stand-up man. He don't have to pretend. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's already a stand-up man. And I want to encourage people to, go to his Facebook page and check out his song that was written. It's a full-blown song that was written by, Pookie and Promise, and I put my lyrics in there too, and they pulled it all together. And but that song talks about Mike, and he's like a man that he'll make a grown man get a tissue. You understand? Because if you strong and thug, Mike will break you down to a sucker, man. I'm telling you, because you would end up hugging on him and kissing on him, being a thug. You know what I mean? Because he got that type of vibe with him. So like you said, Carolina, when you value a person, and that's in every aspect of life, they value you back because you see them. You don't see the problem in them. You see who they really are. And that's how Rufus see Mike. He see him as a man that's coming to get a haircut. And he putting him on the map for the ladies. You understand? And plus he leave out of there smelling good too.
Yeah, he do. Hey, he got that smell good. I ain't gonna lie, Rue got that smell good.
I love Rue.
We've actually been on over an hour. So this is what we're gonna
stop.
do.
We out of here. We out.
Yeah. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play the video one more time, and then I got a closing. We're gonna do a closing remark, but I'm gonna play the video one more time.
All right.
They know that you got it going on, boy.
Yeah.
Get like Mike. It's all about Mike. Get like Mike. This all about Mike. The world said no, but God said yes. A day in the life of Mike and he blessed. The world said no, but God said yes. A day in the life of Mike and he blessed.
August 1st, 1984.
So
Wow.
I want you to we're about to close this out. So I want you to express how you feel Mike views the world, views you as a mother, and views the people that support him. And then I want to hear how you feel so you can express yourself. And your YouTubes, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, anything where people can be introduced to Mike that don't know Mike. Say the links, and we just want to hear from you for the next 2-3 minutes.
Well, I believe Michael views the world and views everybody as a source of love. He wants to experience life, and he loves life. Michael, he feeds off of love and acceptance. I think that's how he views. If you got love for him, he got love for you. If you got disrespect for him, he ain't got nothing for you. So he could kind of feed on your spirit. So whatever your spirit is, that's what Michael picks up. But at the same time, he's such a loving individual that he gives so much love out that you would want to be around him because he loves people. And as far as me, how I see things, it's like how I view. It's like I'm still managing that. So I really can't really say how I really, really feel. But I do know that God's got me, that I've trusted in the journey of caring for him, that I've learned that there is many um, rainbows and golden pots at the end for me. But I do know there is, up and down hills, you know. So I'm still working through all of my feelings every day, when it comes to Mike. But I've settled myself, in just the journey alone. But I will say that in that journey, it is a day in the life with Mike. It continues on until it is to be no more. I believe that we're gonna continue this on to the day of his coming. So I think that if you want to see a little bit more about Michael and his journey, I ask everyone to subscribe to his YouTube. It's called, A Day in the Life with Mike. I'm just starting to build that up because I do want people to see what it looks like to be a caregiver and just see some of the joys that he has to bring to this world and to bring to others. Because Michael is a funny guy, and he does exude a lot of manifestations of God's glory. You will see so much of God's glory in Mike. He has a YouTube channel, Day in Life with Mike. He also has a TikTok called The Life with Mike. He has a Facebook, us also named Michael McKinney. If you look that up, his last name is spelled McKinney. Michael McKinney. I'm posting a lot of things on his Facebook now, and that you'll be able to see some of those things. He has episodes that I've been working with over the last year, just blogging some of his life. So, and he also has an Instagram as well, and it's called A Day in the Life of Mike. So I encourage everybody to go and support it and look out for him. Okay? Yeah.
That was pretty dope. This conversation was I think Rue mentioned to me about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And I think, and me and you went back and forth, and you wanted to get stuff straight. So this show was actually talked about for about 2 months now.
Yep.
Yeah, the show was talked about for about 2 months. So what I want to tell you is the appreciation I had for you before the show. Like I said, like I told the story earlier about what you did for my old lady that one time. The story I told you about who Tech is, how I feel who Tech is. The story about how I feel about Phil. Like I said, once again, Bree, my bad for leaving you out, but I haven't met you yet. But how I feel about your family, Rue, Nemo just checked in. I ain't gonna talk shit about her. That my dog though. Hey, I gotta tell, the first time I hung out with her is, oh my goodness, I still talk shit to her to this day. Her and her sister, but it's all love.
That's cool.
So I feel like I'm part of. Yeah, I feel like I'm part of your blood family just because the people I've named and just being around y'all.
Yes, you are, Ellen.
I appreciate you sharing your time. I appreciate you being a real mother, a black mother, a strong mother, a career woman. Kudos to you, because like I said, once again, if your mental state ain't right, then Mike's not having a great day. And for him to have 40 years, 40 years of you caring for him and
Yes.
expressing for him to others that don't understand him and can translate him. For you doing all that you do and representing mothers, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Like my old lady, she get on me sometimes, and I truly appreciate real mothers.
Yeah.
I guess the problem is, like, for me as a young black man or a black man, is that's the expectation for black mothers, is to be who y'all are. And we do overlook y'all. We do, because it's the expectation of y'all to be who we think y'all are. But looking back on time, and time is the ultimate judge, is thank you. And we hope others learn about Mike, learn about you, learn about what their future could be if they have a child like Mike. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you.
And Carolina, thank you for having me on the bottom of the bottom. Yeah, I really appreciate it. You know, this was my first platform on, sharing with Mike about, a day in the life with Mike. And I'm glad we had just a regular conversation, like we was talking earlier. No facts, none of stuff, just pure D conversation. And I appreciate that, very much. And I want to just encourage you to continue on in your journey, with caring for your daughter as well, because it's a day in the life, and we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off, but know that God has your special interest at hand, because he always shows himself special to us.
my brother said, protect women like you at all costs.
I miss you, Jay, but the next time we'll do a part 2 somewhere.
We definitely do. We definitely got to do a follow-up. But we about to close this out. You're going to see the close-out video. Just stay online for a quick second.
All right. We don't bang.